Thank you for joining us on this next edition of the RVMH Hall of Fame Traveling Museum's restoration of a 1948 GMC PD4151 Greyhound bus that we are converting into a RV. So we have a work day here scheduled with a small crew due to the coronavirus requirements on sizes of groups. So we're going to highlight some of the activities that we were able to accomplish today. We're getting ready to wrap up the day here at 4 o'clock in about 45 minutes. So we shot some video earlier this afternoon. Please visit our previous videos and compare them, and you can see how much has been accomplished just today alone. So first we're going to start off with Jill here while she's starting to work in the air-conditioned bay area.
One of the wire trunks out, and it's being a bit stubborn as far as its connection on the other side to that, so I decided I'd try and switch to something else. And I'm trying to get this grate off, it's only being held by one nut that is completely rusted shut, that on multiple occasions has stumped me, so I was trying to break it. And it's a very sturdy, rusty nut, so I have not broken it yet.
So one of the things we can see where you're at is in front of you the corrosion that goes across there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to look and see if, you know, underneath you can see kind of some metal hanging down there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to look and see if we need to address that. See, on the top side you can see that there's the flat screws along the sill.
It almost looks like a really rusted out I-beam.
Yeah, it seems to be steel just by the looks of it, whereas the bus itself is aluminum. And a lot of these, being that this is where the air conditioning system sat originally, that's why you have those holes in the floor, so the power system had its proper ventilation for intake out and output. So we have to make sure that it still has its strength in the end as well. And so we're going to have to try to take those screws out as well while you're there. Right. So it might be worth spraying those up with PB plaster. Yep. Whether or not we get them out, well, these ones here on the sill, Jill. Because that steel that's there, we need to take it out. We need to replace it. So that way it's strong, and then we need to patch that aluminum. Because what we have going in there is that big air conditioning unit, the modern. And those two, that air conditioning unit that's going in there has the two air compressors to cool the entire bus. Now all this to our left here, that's the original ventilation duct that goes back to the front of the bus into the ducting that's in the floors. And all that's going to be reworked. But the main tube that originally put the ventilation out through the seats there, all that tubing was most likely wrapped in asbestos. So we're going to block off that. That's going to be one of our other tasks to get underneath there and do, is blocking off that main center trunk. So when we go up through here, we'll figure out how we do the two front vents, but then we have to go up through what will be the various probably put like the lines along the walls or something, so that way we can take advantage of those metal tubes that go underneath the seating. That does stay permanent, but then underneath, like the other furniture where the kick panels are, those will be the outputs, primary outputs. So we'll run new ducting versus using the old stuff, which could potentially expose us to the asbestos that might be wrapped around the piping. It's just not worth it. But here we'll replace that outer rail, so we have nice strong strength in that area. Because you can kind of see how it, if you look over here, it stops, and it just kind of runs all the way along, and it stops right to your right, So my guess is that steel piece originally went that whole length only.
They're the flat heads that I just greased up. To be honest, they're completely filled in.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up
Drilling them out.
Yeah, we're going to have to create a center point on them and then take a series of drill bits and just drill them out and just knock it out of there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Then we're going to have to get underneath there, clean out that channel, measure out what we can, put a modern piece of metal in there, so then that way we're at least building from somewhere scratch. But before we put that new metal in there, is have that aluminum cutout, have somebody weld anew, so that way the corrosion from that aluminum doesn't continue.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this? Almost 90 years old, so. That LP gas that you see connection that's on the back wall here, that can come out.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that out, but there's one really stubborn screw.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's still in here, it's because of very stubborn screws.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be taken out.
We'll succeed at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, then over here, that track that's down here on the bottom
Yeah,
here, got to get that bent so this panel can get put back in. Yeah, it's going to come in slowly. It's a good work day, getting a lot of stuff done with everybody here.
Yeah.
Our first official work day.
Right.
There's a couple people that are not here, but we're not fully open to allowing too many people here yet. All right, Jill, show us what you found once you got that all loosened up over here.
Well, this is where the AC unit originally was, and this was additionally placed under the edge and secured to it for extra strength. And as you can see, it's just a little bit corroded, so I had to drill out these screws, but you know, I started small and worked bigger with the drill bits, and it came out nice.
So needless to say, we had a little bit of corrosion
Right here, and corrosion through the aluminum too. It was not just that steel I-beam that got corroded. There's some patching to do here.
Yep. So, just be aware when you have a silver side, that was steel against aluminum. So very, very common issue also that you found. The reason why they had this there is the aluminum itself is not strong enough to hold the very, very heavy pony motor that would have been in this bay. This is where the air conditioning would have been, and it took this whole entire bay area. So it's quite a large space. So we'll do a patch in the aluminum, and we'll replace that steel probably with a boxed steel, so that way it's not an I-beam style but an actual solid box, if we can get one that's that size, and that way water can't get inside of it either or sit on it and corrode it. So we're looking for longevity. So that's what it took for Jill to clean up the air conditioning bay area today. So now we're going to move on to Ray and Mitch and what they were tackling for the day.
As is well known, aluminum heats up quickly.
So Mitch, why don't you tell us what you guys are up to?
Trying to get the locking mechanism out.
I guess Ray instead, right?
I'm just the
Ray is Mitch and Mitch is Ray today. He has to say Ray's the one with the pinkish colored shirt and Mitch is the one with the gray shirt. They've been working away today. A little warm out, not as muggy as yesterday, but they're working on that door mechanism there that allows you to open and close the door and lock it. So this particular door was seized up on us, but we're taking all these mechanisms off on all these doors, and we'll get them all functioning just as they did when they were brand new. Some of these parts we may, in fact, start to recast them, because apparently there's quite a few people out there with silver sights that have issues.
Yeah.
So, so these guys are working away. A lot of these bolts and screws are steel. You're dealing with aluminum, and so there's been a bit of rust issues and corrosion issues due to that. And of course, these front bays. This bus here ran Detroit to Indiana, so of course the roads had some salt on the road. So, so this door had some corrosion issues.
Just stripping it now.
This thing heats up pretty good. Right. I could consider putting torque screws or something.
Yeah.
Some star. Oh.
Just enough work.
Is it turning at all?
You can turn it like that, but for me to turn it with a wrench,
Okay.
it's just spinning.
Okay.
All right, we got the other side of that one. This one's still got a little mud on it. That one right there.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was just spinning it so you can see it.
Yeah, there's hardly anything to grip on there.
Right. So it's those three.
So the guys successfully removed that mechanism from that door. And of course, Ray lifted up and lowered the door several times to remove a lot of dirt that was packed in there from years of driving down dirt roads, apparently. So now we're going to move on to the back end of the bus, where Tom was working on the engine area. So let's see what he was up to.
Yeah.
Be easy to plumb.
So then, drill some holes. Are you going to use the pre-existing hole?
No,
now.
no.
Go higher.
I want to be, yeah, I want to be inside or ahead of that aluminum support where all the rivets are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like Tom,
Which
that
way
there's
bar
some
is
sort of-
connected to?
Okay.
Some sort of insulation.
Yeah,
above that.
yeah. I think I'm hopefully going to be below that. It definitely is asbestos.
Okay, so that must be-
Yeah, don't be breathing that crap.
Okay. Good safety thing.
So is it's a two filter system, right?
Yeah, so this is primary and secondary, and we're gonna mount them kind of like this.
Nice.
Okay.
It'll be nice and serviceable. Then we can run the fuel line out of the secondary right along the bulkhead, right down here, right to the fuel rails.
Yep.
Be nice and neat, you know?
Yeah, just remember there's on that wall there you have that plug that plugs in there.
Yep, right here.
Yep.
So we'll be behind that.
Yep, perfect.
Then this still reaches. But I removed your old voltage regulator, so you won't need that anymore
Nope.
because the new alternator is internally regulated.
Yep. But we may very well recycle the housing.
Yeah. Also, if you want, I think it would probably be a good idea to upgrade the air compressor and the dryer. So I removed this dryer alcohol cartridge. This was mounted kind of half-assed like this.
Yeah.
So this came off the compressor and attached to the main discharge. There's a lot of room ahead of the transmission in that one bay to mount a real air dryer with a desking cartridge on it. So I would probably do that.
All right, so we'll want to call Luke up for a new
Yeah, get a
new compressor with a.
Yep.
All right, so the compressor we have pretty well toast then.
It's not toast, it's just old external unloader valve assembly, original 47. So I would
Okay.
probably upgrade to something that's a little bit newer and more modern.
Yeah.
We also need to change the drive gear over from this front or rearward accessory drive to the inward or forward accessory drive to make the compressor switch over.
Yeah.
We'll do that probably next time. Today I'm just going to get the fuel filters mounted up and figure out what we need for forming.
Yep.
That'll be it.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, man.
So Tom here has gotten everything mounted on the wall here that he was looking to do for this weekend. And that was getting the filtration system up on the wall there, as you can see. From here, he's planned out what kind of fittings he needs to do, what he needs to order, so that way that can get plumbed into place on his next trip out. From here, we'll go ahead and order a new air compressor and possibly the air drying system. That's been kind of a debatable thing amongst the Silverside community. Tom here is a regular mechanic, and so aren't I. So I'm kind of with him with the air dryer aspect. Some people say, look, you really don't need it. You don't have that much as far as requirements for air tanks, which is true. But at the same point, you won't have to necessarily get underneath there every day to drain your tanks either, if you have another way of getting rid of that water prior to it going into the rest of your system. So I'm with him. I'd rather put an air dryer. So we're going to look into that as well. We're going to get some block off plates in the meantime to cover up those holes so that way water doesn't get in when we pressure wash. So we're probably going to get some plexiglass, drill some holes, put some sealant, cover them up. Pressure wash the motor, put some filters underneath it so it catches any oil debris so it's filtrated, because you definitely don't want that making a mess. But we're going to clean this thing up and start getting everything prepped to go to the next stage. The linkage for the throttle has been cleaned up, and now it's able to move easily now. So that was another thing that was started to get worked on, was the throttle control, shifting linkage. So I don't think all that got all accomplished today, but it's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Time to wrap up the day. We've been kind of working on it since 9 o'clock this morning, so it's been a really great day. If you look at our previous videos, please do, because you'll learn a lot, especially if you have a vintage bus or in particular a Silverside. But we have a lot of more great videos to come along as we have a team of volunteers that are coming together. This bus is going to travel coast to coast. It needs to be reliable. We have a lot of sponsors coming together, especially with Two Feathers Restorations taking the lead on organizing and supplying the space to work on this bus. So this bus will be joining the RV Hall of Fame Traveling Museum fleet as soon as it's completed, and hopefully we can get some good headway this summer. We're hoping to have it done by September, but due to the restrictions of the coronavirus, it's really set us back on getting a lot of work accomplished. But it sounds like we're getting back on track. So just stay tuned. Make sure you like us on the YouTube channel and subscribe. And also you can follow us on Facebook as well. But if you'd like to support us, Patreon is the only way you can do that without sending a monetary donation. So if you want to go on patreon.com, all the information follows this video on how you can do that. And you get first dibs on seeing all of our videos before it's released to the public, as well as special videos that the public will not see, as well as event invites where we will have a cookout here at the shop, or we'll be giving out different tickets to go to the museum in Elkhart, Indiana, as part of the main museum we're associated with, or even some fancy gifts. So you never know what we might have donated to give out as a raffle prize. So only way you can do that is if you are a Patreon member for 6 or more months. So please join us on there. And you got to be either the medium level or the high level to qualify. So go on there. We have membership starting at $5, going up to $65. So check us out and join us on our next round of restoring the GMC PD4151. Thank you for joining us.